Some people are not exhausted because life is difficult. They are exhausted because their mind never allows them to fully arrive anywhere. Even in completely silent rooms, they are still preparing for impact. It is 3 a.m. The entire neighborhood is asleep. The streets outside are empty, distant apartment windows are dark, and the cold blue glow from your phone quietly illuminates the ceiling above your bed. Everything around you has finally stopped moving. But your mind has not. Your body feels heavy, your eyes burn from exhaustion, yet your thoughts continue racing as if something terrible is seconds away from happening. You replay conversations from years ago. You rewrite old answers. You mentally rehearse future arguments that may never exist. And the frightening part is that this no longer feels unusual to you. It feels normal, familiar, almost automatic. Most people think overthinking comes from wanting answers. But that is not actually true. Overthinking rarely begins as a search for clarity. It begins as a search for emotional safety. Your mind is not trying to solve every problem. It is trying to prevent pain before pain has the chance to arrive. Your mind did not become anxious. It became employed. That is the part many people never realize. You are walking through a crowded supermarket aisle, and before another person even changes direction, your shoulders tighten automatically. You move aside earlier than necessary. Not because anyone asked you to. Not because you were weak. Your body simply learned long ago that it is safer to inconvenience yourself first before someone else has the opportunity to become uncomfortable because of you. And maybe you never noticed how often you do that. You sit with friends at dinner checking your phone every few minutes even when there are no notifications. You stare at the screen without reading anything. The phone is not entertainment. It is camouflage. It gives your hands somewhere to go and your eyes somewhere to hide. It protects you from the possibility that someone might suddenly look at you too carefully and ask the one question you do not know how to answer honestly. Are you actually okay? Sometimes you are not even sure what the truthful answer would sound like anymore. Then there are the quieter moments. The moments nobody else sees. You sit inside a parked car long after the engine is off. Minutes pass. The journey ended already, yet your hand remains resting on the steering wheel while the dashboard lights glow softly in the darkness. Your body is technically home, but your nervous system is still somewhere else entirely, mentally rehearsing every possible emotional scenario waiting behind the front door. Maybe nobody is upset. Maybe everything is completely fine. But your mind no longer trusts silence enough to believe that automatically. You grip a ceramic coffee mug so tightly your knuckles lose color. You lower the television volume 3 different times to make sure you are not disturbing anybody else in the house. You reread harmless text messages searching for hidden disappointment between ordinary words. You apologize too quickly. You over-explain too often. You notice small changes in people's tone of voice faster than you notice your own exhaustion. These are not random habits. They are survival rituals. At some point in your life, something caught you emotionally unprepared. Maybe it was betrayal. Maybe rejection. Maybe humiliation. Maybe you trusted somebody completely and discovered too late that emotional safety can disappear without warning. The moment itself may have lasted only seconds, but your nervous system never fully left that experience behind. And somewhere deep inside you, a silent promise formed. Never again. Never again will I be emotionally defenseless. Never again will I allow pain to arrive before I see it coming. Never again will I be the last person in the room to realize something is wrong. So your mind adapted the only way it knew how. It began rehearsing every possible future before reality had the chance to hurt you first. Overthinking slowly transformed into emotional armor. You started believing that if you worried enough, anticipated enough, prepared enough, then maybe you could prevent life from surprising you ever again. That is why peace often feels uncomfortable to you. When life finally becomes calm, your mind does not relax. It becomes suspicious. A peaceful week feels dangerous. A healthy relationship feels temporary. A quiet evening feels like the uncomfortable silence before impact. Instead of resting, your nervous system immediately starts searching for problems because familiar stress feels safer than unfamiliar peace. And that realization hurts more than most people expect. Some people became so good at predicting disappointment that they accidentally stopped expecting love too. That sentence lands differently when you have lived it. Because many highly functional people secretly move through life this way every single day. They look calm, reliable, productive. They answer messages quickly. They solve problems for everyone else. They organize emotional environments while quietly collapsing inside their own head. They became emotionally useful long before they ever learned how to feel emotionally safe. After a while, people stop asking if you are okay because you became too convincing at looking fine. That creates a very specific kind of loneliness. A quiet loneliness. The kind that exists even in crowded rooms. You thought the exhaustion came from work, from responsibilities, from difficult people. But that was never the true source of your fatigue. The real exhaustion comes from constantly simulating disasters that have not happened yet. Your body remains trapped in the present while your mind lives several days ahead, preparing for emotional emergencies that may never arrive at all. And eventually the armor becomes heavier than the danger itself. That is the tragedy nobody warns you about. The defense mechanism that once protected you slowly becomes the exact thing preventing you from fully living now. You stop celebrating achievements because your brain instantly jumps toward the next possible failure. You stop trusting peaceful moments because your nervous system interprets stillness as vulnerability. You stop relaxing around people because somewhere deep inside, your mind still believes connection eventually leads to pain. So you leave emotionally before anyone else gets the chance to leave first. And honestly, some nights you are exhausted from carrying that pattern everywhere you go. There's also resentment hidden inside this survival system. Quiet resentment. The kind nobody notices because it never becomes loud enough to start an argument. You became the emotionally responsible person in every room. The stable one. The listener. The reliable one. The person who remembers birthdays, fixes tension before it spreads, comforts crying friends, absorbs awkwardness during conversations, and notices when everybody else becomes uncomfortable. People trust you because you learned how to monitor emotional environments constantly. But somewhere deep underneath all of that usefulness, another question quietly waits. Who takes care of me when I stop performing strength? That question usually arrives late at night. Maybe while staring at the glow of your phone screen in a dark room. Maybe while sitting inside your parked car long after arriving home. Maybe while holding the same coffee mug against your chest like an anchor keeping you connected to the physical world. And the strange thing is that people around you may genuinely believe you are doing perfectly fine. Because survival can slowly become a personality if you practice it long enough. Some people hide their sadness so effectively that even they stop recognizing it anymore. They become highly efficient versions of themselves. Predictable. Responsible. Useful. But emotionally unreachable. Their identity slowly becomes built around managing problems instead of experiencing life directly. That creates another layer of exhaustion nobody talks about enough. You stop asking yourself what you actually want. You become so focused on predicting everybody else's reactions that you lose contact with your own internal world completely. You can detect disappointment in another person's facial expression from across the room, yet you cannot recognize that you have been holding your breath for the last several minutes. Your body remembers stress even when your mind tries to appear calm. And maybe that is why slowing down feels terrifying. Because when the mental noise finally disappears, something else becomes audible underneath it. Loneliness. Grief. Fear. The realization that you built your entire emotional life around preparation instead of presence. There is a moment many people experience during recovery from this pattern that almost nobody discusses openly. The silence finally arrives, and instead of feeling peaceful, it feels empty. Your mind practically begs you to invent another problem because worry at least feels familiar. Chaos feels easier to trust than calmness. That is the emotional exhale most people misunderstand. You are not failing because peace feels uncomfortable. You are experiencing what happens when a nervous system forgets how to rest. And relearning that takes time. Real time. Quiet time. Uncomfortable time. Nobody can promise you life will stop hurting. Nobody can guarantee abandonment will never happen again. Nobody can eliminate uncertainty from the human experience completely. And maybe that is the terrifying truth your mind has been trying to outrun all these years. Control was never actually the solution. Your mind kept rehearsing disasters because it believed preparedness could eliminate pain entirely. But genuine safety does not come from predicting every storm before it arrives. It comes from slowly realizing that you can survive the rain even when you did not prepare for it perfectly. You do not need complete control to remain emotionally safe. You only need enough trust in yourself to handle reality as it arrives. That changes something important. You begin noticing the small ways your body still negotiates safety with the world. The lowered voice during conversations. The apologetic smile. The reflex to over-explain yourself. The need to soften your opinions before speaking. The instinct to emotionally prepare for rejection before connection even has the opportunity to exist. You start recognizing how often you shrink yourself preemptively without anyone directly asking you to. And slowly, very slowly, you stop treating every peaceful moment like a trap waiting to collapse. You breathe differently. You sit differently. You answer messages differently. You allow silence to exist without immediately filling it with fear. The world does not suddenly become harmless. People can still disappoint you. Relationships can still end. Mistakes can still happen. But your entire existence no longer revolves around rehearsing emotional catastrophe before life even begins. That is freedom in a form most people never recognize. And strangely enough, once that pressure finally starts loosening, another realization quietly appears underneath it. You begin noticing how much of your identity was built around survival itself. How many of your habits were actually protective rituals? How many of your relationships were shaped by fear rather than honesty? How often you confused emotional vigilance with emotional maturity? That realization can feel disorienting at first. Because if survival is no longer your full-time responsibility, then who exactly are you underneath all of that armor? Who were you before hypervigilance became your personality? Who were you before your nervous system turned every peaceful moment into a potential threat? Who were you before you learned to monitor every room more carefully than your own heart? Most people never ask themselves those questions because staying busy feels safer. Staying useful feels safer. Staying mentally occupied feels safer. If your mind keeps moving fast enough, maybe you never have to sit still long enough to notice how emotionally tired you actually became. But eventually the body notices anyway. It notices in the middle of quiet evenings. It notices during slow elevator rides. It notices while staring at unfinished text messages. It notices while hearing a notification sound and immediately preparing for bad news before even checking the screen. Your nervous system begins reacting to possibilities instead of realities. And after enough years, you stop remembering what emotional safety originally felt like. That is why healing this pattern is not simply about thinking positively. It is about teaching your nervous system that life can be unpredictable without being permanently dangerous. It is about realizing that not every silence hides rejection. Not every delayed response means abandonment. Not every change in tone signals emotional disaster. Sometimes people are simply tired. Sometimes life is simply messy. Sometimes nothing terrible is happening at all. And maybe that sounds obvious to other people. But to someone whose mind has spent years preparing for emotional impact, that realization can feel almost revolutionary. Because your brain was never trying to destroy your peace. It was trying to protect you using outdated survival instructions. And once you finally understand that, anger slowly turns into compassion. You stop viewing your overthinking as evidence that you are broken. You begin seeing it as proof that your mind adapted intelligently during periods of emotional uncertainty. The problem is not that your system learned protection. The problem is that it never learned when the danger had already passed. That is a very human thing. And maybe for the first time in a very long time, you can sit quietly with that realization without immediately trying to escape it. Not perfectly. Not all at once. But enough to finally loosen your grip around the armor you have been carrying for years. Because once you stop running endless emotional simulations inside your own head, another layer of human connection begins waiting underneath the silence. A deeper question. A more uncomfortable threshold. The realization that intimacy itself becomes difficult when your nervous system was trained to prioritize preparation over presence. And that is where the next hidden chapter begins.